Hi everyone. I'm recording a video to go over our self-directed learning assignment number 2. So if you'll go to the D2L page and click on course content, scroll down to self-directed learning assignments, you'll see SDL number 2, and this concerns creating a personal mission, vision, value statement, SWOT analysis, and personal objectives. So I've got a couple examples we'll go over, but let's go over the assignment first. Clicking on this link will take you to the details for the assignment. So what you'll need to do is read through the personal mission, vision, values, and SWOT lecture, which I'll have posted. And then you'll need to complete the 2 documents listed titled Personal Mission, Vision, Values, Personal SWOT Analysis, and Objectives and Action Plans based on your SWOT analysis and your personal mission, vision, and values. So let's go back to SDL number 2. We'll go into Personal MVV Part 1. Now what I'd like for you to do, go through, complete these couple worksheets. They're not very long. Most of it's a lot of just information. But you'll go through this first worksheet here, follow the instructions. This is more of just information on helping you create your personal mission statement. Now you'll come down to starting to craft your personal mission statement. So you're going to go through a couple drafts of this. Go through the worksheets, make sure you're answering all the appropriate information. Here's a little bit more information, and this is getting more into creating drafts of your personal mission statement. So complete that worksheet, and then you'll have to go through and complete Personal MVV Part 2. And all this should be included and turned in with your Dropbox submission, so everything from the first page through your objectives, action plans, and SWOT analysis. So make sure to have all this turned into the Dropbox. But what you'll do now, based on the information you completed in Part 1, you'll go through and start to draft your personal mission statement, go back through and evaluate it, and create another draft. And they've got some examples here at the end. So once you complete that, come back out, we'll pull up the Personal Mission, Vision, and Values lecture, and that'll give you the information to complete the rest of the assignment. So let's go ahead and bring that up, and we'll go over it right here. So personal mission, vision, values, objectives, action plans, and SWOT analysis is what we're going to be creating for this. As I always show you, here's the competencies and the lesson objectives that's associated with this particular lesson. Like I said, we're going to be talking about mission, vision, values, goals, and SWOT. So the whole theme of this lecture is really just love yourself. What are your great qualities? What are some things you want to work on? And how can we start to get some direction to help you achieve your goals and objectives that you have set out? So we'll start with Stephen Covey. Hopefully a lot of you are familiar with that, and you're reading about Stephen Covey and the 7 Habits and some of your other courses. But Covey says that we should always start with the end in mind. And what we want to do in terms of who we want to be, what kind of character that we want to display, and what kind of different achievements do we want to obtain. So he has this pyramid, says that writing a mission statement is probably one of the most important activities that you'll ever complete in your lifetime. Because mission statements, just like for organizations, will give your life a sense of direction, so you know what direction you're taking your life. And we almost need to invert this pyramid. Instead of building personal plans and working from the bottom up, we almost need to work and start with our mission. If we invert it, work with our mission and work from the top down. So deciding what our mission is will lead into our values, will lead into our vision, so on, so on, so on. And this will all come into play when you start to work on your own personal mission statement and working through the drafts on the previous worksheets that we just went over. So what I've done, I went through and actually completed the assignment myself, and want to give you what I came up with as far as my personal mission, vision, and value statement, and my personal SWOT and objectives, to kind of give you guys, to help you conceptualize how to hopefully start crafting your own mission statement and objectives for the assignment. So my mission statement, I thought about a lot of different facets of my life. I have my work life, my personal life, my time with my family, things like that, and I almost have them compartmentalized. So I decided I was going to work on my lifestyle, and I want to be a healthier individual, and so that's where I was going to focus this particular mission statement, where I wanted to take this assignment for myself. Now, this may or may not apply to you, and that's fine, because everybody's going to be different, but this is just how I interpreted the assignment for myself. So my mission statement is going to be, I'm on a mission to be the best and healthiest version of myself that I can be. And through purpose-driven exercise, I will be enabled to realize my fullest potential. Just talking about how my daily aim is going to be to choose a healthier lifestyle and choose those behaviors that are going to lead me to that ultimate goal of being healthy, not only for myself, but being healthy for my family. I have a small daughter, and I want to be around a long time for her. And I feel like by choosing to live a healthier lifestyle, that's going to help me enable, myself to be around a long time for my daughter. What are your personal objectives? So I pulled a couple examples, and then I'll give you my own personal examples based on what I come up with through the exercise. But you can see a couple different examples here. Some of these were taken from resumes. Some of these were taken from just people's personal objectives that they live their daily life by. So you can see this one off of a resume. My goal is to become associated with a company where I can utilize my skills, gain further experience while enhancing the company's productivity. It's a very good objective, and a very good objective to show on a resume to a potential employer. And there's some other ones here talking about obtaining leadership skills and qualities, different areas and facets of an organization that you can utilize your own personal and particular skills. But I'll show you the personal goals and objectives I came up with relating to myself and relating to the activity as I completed it. So how I'm going to live this healthy lifestyle is I've recently become very involved in running, and found out that I really like to run. So I ran my first half marathon a couple months ago. And now my goal is to set a personal best time for a half marathon by 5 minutes at the end of 2017. So you can see, we talked a lot about SMART criteria, so you can see the goal and the objective conform to that SMART criteria. It's specific, it's measurable, it's attainable, it's reliable, and it's timely. So I have a goal by the end of 2017. I'm going to set a personal record for time in a half marathon. Now, how am I going to achieve that? So we know objectives help feed goals, help achieve your goals, and strategies or action plans help achieve your objectives. So let's move down a level from goal into objectives. And my objective to help achieve my goal is to run in and complete a local race series here in the Tri-Cities called the Beast Series in 2017. It's a collection of 4 half marathons. And I believe by doing this is going to help me get to my goal of a record personal time by 5 minutes in 2017. So the strategies I'm going to use to achieve the goal, which is going to help achieve the strategies I'm going to use to help achieve my objective, which will help achieve the goal, are going to commit to training and healthy eating habits, and show measurable progress. And we'll go over kind of what I mean by measurable progress and how I plan on doing those things here in just a second. But you can see kind of how strategies feed into objectives, help achieve objectives there, and then how those objectives, by achieving them, will help achieve your overall goal. So let's move on to talk a little bit about, let's go back one, talk about this strategy. Sometimes it's called action plans, but we'll talk about strategies and action plans and how I interpreted the information and how I plan to show that measurable progress. So achieving your objectives, you need to sit down and think about, how am I going to go through doing that? What steps am I going to take? What actions? Do I need additional training, additional education? So think about everything that will need to go into working to achieve your objective, and you'll need to detail those out. So what I've done, and this is the method that works for me, I've created just a personal action plan. So this is how I'm going to go through and work to achieve my objectives. I've listed out each action that I need to achieve that overall objective of completing running in and completing the Beast Series in 2017. So the first thing I need to do is actually register for the races. I know the registration deadline for the first race, which is the Bristol Half and Half, but I don't know the deadlines yet for the Bluegrass Half Marathon, the Haunted Half Marathon, and the Veterans Day Classic. So when I know those, I'll put those dates in. But you can see here I've set a deadline for myself to register for the race. And here in the status, I can keep track of how well I'm doing. Am I on target, which would be, in this case, I use a green and red system, kind of a stop and go. So if I'm on track, or if I'm on track, I can leave it blank. If I've already completed that, I can go ahead and turn it green. But you'll see down here, construct a training and strength schedule was one action I was supposed to do to help achieve my objective, and that was due by January 5th. Well, unfortunately, I didn't meet that deadline. I'm still working on that training and strength schedule. So the status for that will be red. I didn't achieve it by the deadline, so I'm still working on it. So it gives me that visibility and that accountability that I need to hold myself accountable to get these action items completed. And you can see down here I've got a couple others noted. So go back, we've determined, one of my actions was to determine progress metrics. So we've talked a lot about measurable progress throughout the course of the semester so far, and how are we going to track that? And we use data and we use different types of metrics to track that, and use visibility to bring accountability on how we're doing with our metrics. So how I'm going to track visible progress, or make progress visible to myself and to anyone else that's holding me accountable, I decided I'm going to look at 3 things, and these 3 things are going to tell me whether I've achieved my objective, achieved my action, or whether I'm a little lagging behind. And it gives me kind of a pulse on where I'm at the moment. So the first thing I'm going to look at is number of miles that I run in a week. I know that I run about 10, so this first column, I'm using that as my baseline. I run about 10 miles a week. My target, or my benchmark to get to, is 20 miles a week. So how I have it set up is within weeks, and then moving into every month tracking how I'm doing. So you can see in week 1, here's my baseline at 10. Week 2 went up to 11 miles. Good improvement, about 10%. But in week 3, had a little issue with an injury, so I was only able to run 8. That was about a 20% decrease from my baseline. But then I'm back on track, 12, 15, and then we'll hopefully achieve 20 by here. The next thing I'm going to look at is the number of cross-training exercises I do a week. So my baseline, again, I work out about 4 times a week on average, and what I'd like to do is bump that up to 8. So there will be some days that I work out twice a day, and I can kind of track progress here. You can see I was on a good uptick and finally achieved that goal here. Now, once you achieve an action plan or an action or strategy, now I have to figure out how I'm going to sustain that so I don't backslide down. So how am I going to maintain working out 8 times a week? The other thing that I feel like will help me get better as a runner is working on how much I'm able to do on my back squat. My baseline is 203 in pounds, and I want to get to 250, so I can track that progress here as well. So one other thing that I need to work on is understanding what's my own personal strengths and weaknesses. Sorry about that. The other thing, like I was saying, that I need to work on is understanding what's my own personal strengths and weaknesses, and essentially do a SWOT analysis or environmental analysis on myself. So before we get into the example that I provided of what kind of my SWOT analysis looks like, I'll give you just some general overview ones that'll hopefully help bring this all together and you're able to do your own SWOT analysis. Now, just taking inventory of what's due so far, you have the 2 worksheets listed on D2L. You have your personal mission statement that will be due. your personal goals, objectives, and action plans that'll be due. And now we're going to talk about the last element, which is your SWOT analysis. And I will list this out all on the assignment as far as a checklist of everything that's going to be due. So make sure to review over that. Now getting back to what your SWOT analysis would kind of look like, I've pulled this kind of general example on what a SWOT analysis would look like for somebody who's maybe going out to look for a job. Not the SWOT analysis I used in my case for my own personal example, but this one may be helpful to you if that's where you're taking your the direction of your mission statement and your objectives. So we can see things like, when you talk about your strengths, think about things that you do well, specific skill sets that you may have, contacts who can help you achieve your goals, any education or certifications that you may have that would be helpful. Now, weaknesses can be one of the hardest ones. Nobody likes to admit that they have a weakness, but understanding your weaknesses can help you realize what you need to work on so that you can turn those weaknesses into a strength, which should be the ultimate goal. We want to take what our weaknesses are, understand them, and understand how we can turn them into our own personal strengths. So it's almost the opposite of what we said in strengths. We want to, for weaknesses, we want to talk about things that we may have a difficulty doing, maybe skill deficiencies. Do we need more education? Do we need more certification? Just overall in general things that we need to work on. So remember and recall, strengths and weaknesses are more internal. So you need to look inside yourself and kind of do a self-inventory before we move externally, talking about opportunities and threats. So for a job seeker in this particular example, some opportunities externally that we may want to consider: realistic job ideas. What does the job market look like? Is there going to be a good chance for you to get your dream job in the area that you want to live? And any trends that, you can see trends here, any trends that are created out in the environment. So those would all be considered opportunities and questions you would ask yourself when thinking about what external opportunities there are. Now thinking about threats, you can think about jobs that may become obsolete because of technology advancements or competition, and any unrealistic expectations that you may have. Another example that I have, kind of more general but may help you a little when you're constructing your own SWOT analysis. When you think about strengths, you can think about, what am I really good at? And then weaknesses, where do I need to improve, or what do I need to work on? And again, those are more internally within yourself. Opportunities and threats externally, again, opportunities thinking about who or what can help me out, and threats, what is standing in the way. And this would be the same thing for any organization that was doing a SWOT analysis, thinking about internally, what is that organization really good at, where do they need to work to improve, so that they can understand where their weaknesses are, turn those into strengths. What opportunities may lie out there so that they can take their strengths and leverage them against the opportunities and build off one another, and how to go through and neutralize any threats that may be standing in their way of progress. A couple other examples, I won't go over them, but they are in your slide deck that you can view that'll hopefully help you construct your SWOT analysis and bring that together. So I'll show you my example, going back to my healthy life mission statement and how this all relates back. When I did a personal inventory on myself regarding my own personal lifestyle, I come up with some strengths in regards to strengths that I may have when I try to achieve a healthy lifestyle. So one strength of mine was, when I go on runs, I try to do easier runs. I don't push myself on pace, but I go more for miles. Like I said, my goal is to get to about 20 a week. So I spend my training days not worrying so much about pace, but more about the mileage. I try to follow a paleo-ish diet, if you're familiar with that type of healthy eating lifestyle. So I eat a lot of protein, a lot of good fat, low carbs, so I try to work on my nutrition, and I do a lot of CrossFit workouts, so I try to stay committed to training through CrossFit to keep my strength up. Internal weaknesses, I have a bad habit, and I think a lot of people do too, about getting in your own head, becoming your own worst enemy, and going through a little bit of self-defeat. So it's just a matter of getting outside of your own head and stop being your own worst enemy. And my other weakness is I don't get the amount of sleep I probably should. I have a 4-year-old, so that equals not a lot of sleep. I also have a busy life schedule. That keeps me pretty committed to a lot of different things. So sleep is one thing that I understand is an issue and that I really need to work on. So I'm working to kind of change that weakness into a strength. Some external opportunities that I identify that could help me achieve my mission, and by that, achieving my goals and my objectives. I have a great support community at my gym that pushes me to lead a healthy lifestyle. We have a great resource in the Tweetsie Trail. I have a perfect place to go run and practice on my training days. And then we live in a very health geared community, so we have a lot of races, a lot of 5Ks, so I can use those 5K races as more conditioning and more training races to get ready for my overall half marathon and working on bringing my time down by 5 minutes. Now, some threats I did identify, just trying to keep a work-life exercise balance to make sure that I'm keeping everything in balance and everything in check, and not letting one slide over the other. Another threat that I did have, I had an injury a couple months ago that's kind of kept me from training like I would prefer. So how do I neutralize that threat? Just through therapy, taking care of myself, doing some preventative measures. And then I have graduate school as a threat, not necessarily in a bad light, but I am considering going back to pursue my doctorate degree, and how I will manage being in school. So throwing another element into that work-life exercise balance, and how to balance everything out and keep on track like I need to. I hope that this is helpful in helping you navigate through this self-directed learning assignment number 2. But again, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me anytime. Remember, the fastest way to get a hold of me is probably through email. I have a little faster response time because I am in and out of my office so much. But you're welcome to stop by at any time. You can make an appointment. We can sit down and look over your personal mission statement along with your objectives, your SWOT analysis, your goals, all the elements that are due. You can call me. We can Skype. Like I said, all my contact information is on the syllabus, so feel free to contact me at any time. Again, just a review of what's going to be due. The 2 worksheets listed out on D2L. Your personal mission statement, the final draft that you come up with, your goals, objectives, if you have multiple, or your one goal, objective and action plans or strategies. You can lay out how you're going to monitor those action plans, and then your own personal SWOT analysis. So do a self-inventory and come up with your SWOT analysis for the course. Like I said, any questions, feel free to contact me anytime. Hope you guys have a great day. Thanks.